Chaps, welcome back to another YouTube video. Now coming to you today, the ultimate guide to get rid of belly fat, a video I've wanted to make for a long time, and here we go. Now, if you're carrying stubborn belly fat and have tried everything but nothing seems to work, this video is hopefully going to change that for you. I'm going to show you how to build muscle and to maintain it in a fat loss phase. I'm going to show you how to drop body fat and maintain that after the fat loss phase is done. I'm going to show you how to do it in a matter of months, not in a matter of years. Now, I have helped hundreds of men do exactly this over the last few years. And in today's video, I'm going to break it down for you in 5 simple steps. So listen up. So we should probably start off with the truth, which is you don't have a stubborn body fat problem or a belly fat problem. You just have an energy balance problem, okay? Fat around the stomach is pretty common for all men. Most of us find it hard to get rid of it. Most of us diet down and it doesn't go until right at the end. We cannot spot reduce fats. We can't go on a diet and then, so I want to lose it from here. It comes off where it comes off. And unfortunately, belly fat tends to be the last place it comes off, which leads me to step number 1, which is you need to create a deficit you can stick to. And I mean like really, really stick to, not just an 8-week plan so I can lose a bit of fat. I'm talking about a proper plan that you can run for 8 to 12 months, something that fits into your lifestyle, okay? And remember this, if you're watching this and you feel like, well, I'm already doing that, I've done everything, but I'm not losing fat. If you're not losing fat, you're not in a deficit. At the end, it's a game of energy balance. If you're not losing fat, you're not in a deficit. Doesn't matter how stressed you are. Doesn't matter what your wife said. Doesn't matter about hormones. If you're not losing body fat, you're eating too much food, okay? Most guys will either eat too much without realizing, or they slash their calories too hard, too quickly, and burn out. So this is what I recommend doing, okay? First things first, as I've said in 1,000 different videos, you find your maintenance calories. So many people hate doing this, but you literally type it into a calculator and it comes up. Once you get that number, you pull either 250 to 500 calories away from this, okay? That is it. So when you create a deficit that you can actually stick to, you're putting 250 calories away from it, okay? So if that's what we're doing, why are some people dropping 1,000 calories on day 1? How are you going to maintain this? This is why you have belly fat in the first place, because you diet too hard, you crash and burn, and you rebound too hard. And every time you rebound, you get fatter. And every time you try and diet down, you don't get as lean as the last time, okay? Too many people will drop their calories too quickly, and they'll also drop carbohydrates too quickly, because for some reason, people think that carbohydrates just make you fat. I had a call yesterday with a guy who said the classic, I look at carbohydrates and I gain weight. No, you don't. You don't, okay? You don't look at carbohydrates and gain weight. It's the overall number of calories that makes you fatter. Stop blaming carbohydrates, okay? The goal is not extremely fast fat loss, 10 kilos in 6 weeks. The goal is sustainable fat loss. It beats crash dieting every day of the week, twice on a Sunday. If you cannot stick to your calorie deficit, you will not be able to maintain your result, okay? You want to have a nice cruise down in a deficit you can stick to that doesn't ruin your life. You get to a good body weight you're happy with, you lose the belly fat, and then you creep up with a reverse diet that you can also stick to. Remember, guys, stomach fat comes off last. Even for me, if I gain a couple of kilos, it goes to here. Obviously, I don't have much stomach fat because I do this for a living. This is all I've done for 17 years. But if you are 25% body fat and you go on a crazy no carb fat loss approach and you lose 6 kilos in 4 weeks, you're still fat. You don't have abs. You had 15 kilos to lose, you've lost 6 kilos, okay? But you're completely burnt out and finished. You binge, you end up putting on 7 kilos when you had after losing 6. You're better off losing 0.5 to 1% of your body weight per week. This is a sustainable rate of change. You do not want to lose 1.5 kilos per week, not eat any carbohydrates, go from not training at all to training twice a day. You need to be in a consistent deficit that you can stick to with a consistent plan that you can stick to while still enjoying some foods within moderation. If you slash your calories by 1,000 and do 4 CrossFit classes a day, you will crash and burn every single time. Now, this leads me to training, okay? Guys, very important. When the goal is to lose belly fat, you need to train to try and build muscle, not to lose belly fat, okay? Some people really struggle with that. Your training in the gym is specifically there to build muscle, not to burn stomach fat. You let the calorie deficit, the cardio, and the steps burn body fat. You allow weight training to build muscle, which is going to keep a good, healthy metabolism, which in the long run will help you burn belly fat. But weight training, your time in the gym is spent building muscle, okay? That means training hard, training heavy, training close to muscular failure, prioritizing big compound lifts like your traditional squat variation movements, your overhead pressing, your incline pressing, your rows, your deadlifts, your lunges, weighted carries, prowler pushes, dips, chin-ups, pull-ups. These big hitting movements are going to put as much muscle on your body as possible. And that over time is going to allow you to eat more food, meaning you're going to be able to diet on more calories, meaning you can stick to that deficit for longer. That's going to get rid of belly fat. Remember, it's the last 4, 5, 6 weeks of dieting where all of it comes in, where the lower back comes in, where the lower abs come in. It's the same for everybody. Okay, so this is a long-term thing. Don't try and just think, right, I want to have a six-pack in 6 weeks' time. Think about, okay, maybe you can do that. Maybe you can diet really hard. Maybe you can push it to the limit because you're super motivated. But what about 3 months from now? What are you going to do after those 6 weeks are done and you're absolutely knackered and starving all the time? You're going to rebound, my friend. You're going to rebound. We need to focus on strength training, prioritize getting stronger over time at the key lifts, prioritize building muscle, okay? And on the flip side of that, a small calorie deficit is all you need to slowly build some muscle and slowly lose some body fat. We're all in a rush. Everyone wants to be ripped yesterday, okay? And when we talk about training, a question I keep getting asked as well is, people still think if they want to, if you're in a decent position, let's say maybe you're 15% body fat, yeah? You look pretty good definition, but you're still holding around your midsection. Like most guys that have been training for a while are. They think that they need to train their abs more. How many calories do you think you burn from doing leg raises, which trains your hip flexors, or from holding a plank for 40 seconds whilst listening to a motivational speech on YouTube? The best way to burn belly fat is to train with movements that work the most amount of muscles. Weighted carries, squatting, deadlifting. These big hitters are going to take more fat off your stomach than any crunch will. Now, of course, they are a muscle. I have built mine from training them as well. That's how they get thicker. And we do want to train them a few times a week, just like you train your biceps or you train your shoulders, okay? 3, 4, 5, 6 sets a session, nice and heavy, 8 to 15 rep range, and that's it. But you can have the best, most symmetrical midsection ever. Train them super hard 3 times a week. If you're fat, you're fat. Stick to the deficit, train to build muscle, okay? With that training split, it's 3 to 4 sessions a week, either a full body or an upper lower, upper lower. If you don't know what you're doing, or if you're somebody that's been training for years and years and years, you look exactly the same, your strength is the same, you should really take my advice. I've literally built a course below called the Complete Physique Blueprint, which is about $100, and you can get the whole program, 35 different courses in there. That's a lie. 35 different videos in there. It's one course. And I explain everything in so much detail, everything to build a great physique and maintain the great physique. It's all about maintaining the physique, okay? But your training split, all of that stuff is really important. And this brings me to another point as well, sticking to a program. If we know that the goal is to build muscle or at least maintain muscle, how can we be changing workouts every single couple of weeks? How can we be a Hyrox athlete on a Monday and a powerlifter on a Wednesday, then a bodybuilder on Friday, and then you're a runner on Sunday? Okay, if you want to get better at the basics and build muscle, you need to progress these big compound lifts that we spoke about, the squats, the deadlifts, the incline presses, the dips, the chin-ups, these big movements, powerhouse movements that break down a lot of muscle. As we get stronger and better at them over time, we will build more muscle, and we'll also become very efficient at the movement. Our form will get better, our control will get better, our tempo will get better, plus we'll lift more load, okay? That over time leads to a great physique, okay? Remember, we're not just trying to burn calories in the gym. We're trying to keep muscle in a deficit or build muscle in a surplus or a maintenance phase, okay? How are you going to get good at squatting? let's take the barbell back squat, yeah? Just whilst we're here. How are you going to get good at squatting if you squat every 2.5 weeks because you change your program around all the time? How are you going to become a great back squatter if you're leg pressing on a Monday, hack squatting on a Thursday, front squatting the next Monday, then doing lunges the Thursday after that, and then you squat every now and then? No. If I know that the squat and the deadlift are two of the best movements I can do for my lower body, quads, hamstring, glutes, I need to practice those movements, which means I need to be repetitive with my training. It is not the same thing over and over again if you're increasing load, increasing control over the lifts. It's so important, guys, that you stick to a program. I don't know how clear I have to make that. I coach a lot of men online in my premium coaching offer, and all of them always say to me, well, most of them say, when am I changing the training plan? It's been 4 weeks. When are we changing the training? I say, what? If I had it my way, I'd change your plan every 6 months. How are you going to get good at squats and chin-ups if you don't do squats and chin-ups? You need to get used to being repetitive with this stuff. The more you do these lifts and the better you get at them, the more muscle you will build. The more muscle you build, okay, the more calories you can eat. The more calories you can eat, the easier it is to lose body fat on a higher amount of calories. The easier it is to lose body fat on a higher amount of calories, the more likely you are to stick to your plan. The more likely you are to stick to your plan, the better you're going to do. The deficit is always king, and the person who gets leanest is the person that can stay in that deficit for longest. So if you're changing your plan every 5 minutes, you're not going to build muscle, which means your calories are never going to be able to get too high. Now, that leads me on to another point, okay, which is important, which is talking about cardio. I get asked a lot of questions. What cardio is best? How much cardio should I do? Low impact, high impact, high rocks are super popular. I like to play football. Can I do that for cardio? Let's just break it down. Now, this whole video is about losing belly fat, okay? And we already know, we've established that it means staying in the deficit for a prolonged period of time. That's the guy who's going to lose body fat because it tends to be the last bit to come off. We know we want to keep calories as high as possible within reason. So we know we need to weight train properly to build muscle, or to, at the very least, keep muscle. Okay, but we will run into sticking points. Let's say your maintenance is 2,750. You start your calories at 2,500, which, as I said, you pull them down by 250. You don't want to, every few weeks or so, you're going to stall, right? It happens. The body adapts and gets used to the amount of food coming in. You don't want to have to just drop 250 calories, 250, 250, 250, 200, 200 every couple of weeks. It's a much better approach to try and increase how many calories we burn. So although you can get in amazing shape from just weight training and nutrition alone, I know guys who look unbelievable. They're so dialed in with their food. They don't have any fun meals across the weekend. They don't drink alcohol. They're just locked in. Yeah, these guys look great. But if you want to have a little bit of leniency, if you want to have a little bit of, some alcohol on weekends with your friends, if you want to be able to take your partner out for a meal on a Saturday and not have to track calories and stress about it, cardio and steps are your low-hanging fruit to burn more calories, and I recommend utilizing them as much as possible. I am very lean. Yeah, I'm able to stay, I don't know if you can see on camera, I'm able to stay pretty lean, okay? I have to, if I don't do, so I do probably 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day. I'll get my clients to do something similar if they have the time. And I do as much cardio as I can fit into my week and recover from. Because first of all, I enjoy it and makes me feel good. But I'm looking at about 30 minutes a day. Of course, if you're watching this, I don't expect you to do 30 minutes 7 times a week. But by increasing my cardio and steps, it allows me to eat more food. That is a huge deal for me. I can maintain my body weight at 3,000 calories. If I had to maintain my body weight at 2,000 calories, I guarantee you I wouldn't be able to hold this all the time. I just don't have the willpower to do it. I don't care enough to suffer all the time. I'm not like competing, and I just want to look good for my job, like the camera and things like that, okay? But because I've spent time over the years building muscle, increasing my metabolism, training my body to handle more food, I can eat more food than most people, okay? But my cardio and my steps are a huge part of that. Now, so if you're watching this and you're struggling to lose that last bit of weight, or maybe you're just starting from scratch and you've got a lot of weight to lose, we know the deficit is king. We know that weight training is priority, and it needs to be to build muscle, which means some sort of a good split, 3 or 4 days a week. Again, I've got the course below if you want me just to punch it into your phone and do it for you. but we really, really want to focus on cardio, okay? I recommend doing some sort of cardio as much as possible, guys. It can be a power walk outside. It can be 15 minutes of cardio on the stepper post-workout. It can be a game of football with your friends. It can be boxing. It can be running. It can be tennis. It doesn't matter. The more calories you get to burn throughout the week, the more food you can eat. The more food you can eat, the more enjoyable your life will be and the less you will suffer on the way down. As I've said before in other videos, the person that can get down to 10% body fat, 12% body fat, and have no fat on his stomach, okay? And if he could do it on 2,500 calories versus his identical twin who's doing it at 2,000 calories, who's going to have an easier time being there? 2,500 or 2,000? Obviously 2,500 guy is, and that's the guy that weight trains, didn't starve himself at the start, and probably does his cardio and steps. You want to try and get your output as high as possible. And as a last resort, you reduce food. It needs to be a last resort. That brings me to an important part I want to talk about as well. This is where people will click off the video, is alcohol on weekends. Now, I have seen more physiques ruined by weekends than anything else, okay? I coach men for a living. I track trackers for a living. I see men from Monday all the way through to Sunday. You can be perfect Monday to Friday. But if you feel like you've earned that weekend and you want to go wild, I have watched people not only blow the week, but go backwards from blowing a Friday and blowing a Saturday and then having a shitty Sunday because they feel terrible, okay? You can 100% destroy the whole week and probably destroy like half of last week too, okay? Now, I'm 31 years old, guys. I'm not sitting here saying, never drink alcohol again. Take your egg whites to your dinner. No, of course, we can drink in moderation. But you need to have a hold on your weekends, because if you're somebody that's struggling to lose body fat, or you've got a big stomach and you want to get ripped and you find that you can diet down a little bit, but you can't quite get there, I guarantee you this is a bottleneck for you. I guarantee it. So the solution, guys, there's a few different things that I want to go over. I've spoken in a few videos about calorie banking. We kind of all know what this is by now, which is where you would save calories on Monday to Friday, maybe 200 calories Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That gives you 1,000 calories across a weekend, maybe 500 Saturday, 500 Sunday, and your weekly average is the same. I really recommend running some fasts the day after a heavy day of food. But if you're really, really serious about, because as I've said before, it's not about losing lower body fat, is it? Lower body fat. It's not about losing lower belly fat. It's about keeping it off. There's no point being lean for 2 weeks. It's about being lean for 2 years, okay? And alcohol is the devil. It is the devil. 7 calories per gram, so easy to do it. We've all been there. We've all been there. A big night on Friday, I can only speak for myself, right? A big night on Friday for me, I'm still destroyed by Monday. My Saturday sucks. I'm probably out again Saturday because I've already blown it. Sunday, I'm eating shit because I've woken up feeling absolutely terrible. I'm about 4 kilos down on Sunday. And then I'm about 5.5 kilos up on Monday because I'm so dehydrated and I'm so overhydrated, put so much food into me on Sunday. It destroys your training, destroys performance, it destroys recovery. But you're probably going to drink anyway. So sugar-free spirits, sugar-free mixers with spirits are the way forward. Gin and vodka lime sodas, vodka diet cokes, these sort of things are your best friend. A single vodka diet coke is about 70 calories. If you calorie bank properly and you have 700 calories to play with, you've got loads of alcohol you can drink. But it's very important that if you are going to go and enjoy the Friday with the drinks, what tends to come with that is the big meal. And then the eating late at night before bed, and then the heavy breakfast, and then the low output the next day. And it's like a cascade of effect that you just spiral. And then it's, I'll just get back on it on Monday. And you've lost Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You've lost like half the week. Alcohol, no bueno. Get rid of it, all right? Now, last but not least, I want to talk about get help as well. I see men training, okay? I speak to a lot of men, I do a lot of calls, I coach a lot of men at the moment, where they would have been training for 10 years and they look the same. Or like, I say, how long have you been going to the gym for? Yeah, I've been doing a bit for about 15 years. And they look the exact same, they train the same, they lift the same amount of weight. Hire a coach. I have a coach. I've had a coach for years. I had a coach help me to go from skinny to big to competing to shredded to natural and healthy. I went down that whole route competing, steroids, come off, healthy, natural, TRT, I've done it all, okay? Now, if you're somebody that's been training for years and years and you just feel like you always look the same, you're not going to suddenly start to look a lot better in 6 months from now. Your programming needs to change. Your food needs to change. I have literally got on calls with guys who have been training for years and years and years. We do 12 weeks together and they look 1,000 times better, like night and day, full-blown transformations, okay? If you're somebody that's watching this, you're thinking, God, I am consistent with my training, but I'm just not quite there. Can't seem to get rid of this fat around my stomach. I think, well, yeah, I have kind of been doing the same plan for a while. I'm not really, sometimes I'll just go to the gym and I'll just do a bit of this, do a bit of that, copying people. You're going to continue to look the same. And that's why I just want to quickly show you guys 3 men that I've trained. We've got Ennis, we've got Ashley, and we've got Love. These are 3 guys I trained over about 3 to 6 month period. These are guys that already trained for a long time. But if you want to take it to another level, the accountability of a coach, the food plan, someone to really be on your case, not just a WhatsApp message once a week and a check-in, talking properly be on your case. Look at your training, watch your form videos, find food when you go out for dinner, when you send them the menu, plan weekends with you, plan holidays with you, find gyms in different countries when you're traveling. This is all the stuff I do. As you can see with these 3 guys here, they look considerably better, more muscle, less fat in half the time. My whole thing is build a complete physique in half the time, and that is literally what I do. Anyway, you don't have to do any of that. The courses are below, the premium coaching is below. The fact that you're watching this video is more than enough for me, and I'll see you in the next one.